So we are here in New London, just outside Ny Alesund. In front of me you see a group representing JRCC's Coast Guard and industry from the cruise sector. What are the real challenges when somebody are in distress and someone is hitting the button and really are in need of help? I don't know who wants to take the lead on this one.
I might start is that they need to know they can hit the button.
So who do you represent?
So I'm with Quark Expeditions and part of the industry. In the past it was with Canadian Coast Guard, and one of the things we learned is people are afraid to call for help. They think, no, we'll solve this, we don't want to get in trouble. But now working with each other, we realize, oh, we need help. We tell them as soon as we can, so they can start thinking, how can we help you?
Seems like you're nodding and agreeing.
I am. My name is Barentshav. I'm with the United States Coast Guard, and really it's the tyranny of distance coupled with that, what Peter said, kind of that fear of hitting the search and rescue alarm or the activation alarm. But you know, if it weren't for the relationships that we have, say like with the Icelandic Coast Guard or Canadian Coast Guard or our industry partners, and events like this, we wouldn't have the relationships built, and we wouldn't have the knowledge that we have to count on each other. I mean, we're pretty fortunate.
Yeah, that's right. But there's been a reason in the past for the industry maybe perhaps being reluctant to hitting that button, because we haven't had that knowledge before. We didn't trust each other. We didn't know what assets there were, what resources there were, and there was a lot of industry collaboration, helping each other instead of calling on the professionals.
Yeah, and let's head over to you, Odin, representing JRCC in Iceland. What kind of resources are actually available if somebody are in distress in this region in the Arctic?
In this area, which is quite remote, it's of course vessels of opportunities. There are other passengers vessels and Coast Guard vessels, but it's very important that we, like they have been saying, know each other. We know what they are capable of and where they are. And it's also important for us, for the Coast Guard, to know all the Coast Guard agencies and other rescue providers, so we can help each other when it's needed.
For somebody who's not into this industry, help me a little bit of explaining how you actually are collaborating after somebody has been hitting the distress button. How does it work in practice?
Well, in a real incident, I'll use the United States for example. If we had a SAR case up in our Arctic, we would first utilize our traditional search and rescue resources, Coast Guard cutters, helicopters, things that common resources that we all have. We would look to our industry partners and other commercial ships that are available to help out. And if the incident expanded beyond something that we could manage, we could utilize request for assistance procedures. We could utilize international, the Arctic Search and Rescue Agreement, which has a provision for the Arctic states to collaborate and work together. We may call Iceland, we may call Norway, we may reach out to the UK for resources from Rescue Coordination Center Falmouth for the search and rescue plans of cooperation. I hate to oversimplify it, but it's the opportunities that we have now that help us better prepare for when the incident actually occurs, I think.
Except we hope that you will also call on the industry, because the likelihood of the next vessel, the vessel of opportunity being another expedition cruise vessel is very high. And for that reason we need to find out about each other and learn about each other so that we can utilize these resources.
In many cases, the authorities know where all the vessels are. And I know Jay with the Canadian Coast Guard talked about Nordrig. And they will use fishing vessels, cargo vessels, and as you say, other industry vessels who are nearby to say, hey, we've got something going on. And it's the obligation of mariners to come help each other. So it's the authorities work with each other, work with the industry. If it weren't, we hadn't started meeting, 7 years ago, we've developed this amazing relationship, and it's the familiarity of being able to pick up the phone and say, I can call him or her, I know them already.
And Henrik, you represent Polar Quest. You also an end user and experience on being in this Arctic environment. What do you see as the future then for search and rescue operations in this region?
Of course, more collaboration as we can help each other, but and I also want to emphasize the fact that it doesn't need, I mean, we often talk about the big disaster. It doesn't always have to be the big disasters, and we are already doing parts of that. We are helping each other a lot because it's It's too remote, and you have to reach out to whoever is the closest if something happens. And we are doing that. We have been called up from sailing yachts. They have people being sick, and we have on some of our vessels we have the medical doctor on board. On all vessels we have trained personnel. We have CPR equipment, so we can be there quite quick and help them with medical problem. It doesn't have to be a big yacht sinking, but it's about collaboration and helping each other in big and small troubles.
And let's talk about the real challenges in the Arctic region. You represent the Norwegian Coast Guard, and we know that looking at the map that some of your colleagues shared earlier today, the Arctic is pretty big. Cellular coverage doesn't exist. Satellite coverage barely doesn't exist. How does this in a way impact the opportunities you have then to collaborate and actually help each other?
I think, so you say, push the button, no matter what we think, because the rescue centers, they have compiled a pool of all the resources. Both those are here coincidentally or cruise or whatever, but they also have all the vessels that may not be showing up on the ARS and everything else. We have both the Coast Guard vessels, there may be naval vessels in the area, military, of course along with the industry. So, and with the distances we have time is of the essence, and being able to stay afloat, to put it mildly, until help arrives. And it may be one fjord down, it may be 2 days.
And Johan, you represent the Faroe JRCC also. Is the challenge the same all over the Arctic, or do you see a differentiate in terms of needs and challenges?
Yeah, we don't have the same distances for our area, but we can cover it pretty much with the assets we have there. But this collaboration has learned us a little bit more about our neighbors and what they can do and what the capacity is. Also, as Frigg and Aiko, they have a database of all the vessels, and they have drawings and everything. You can draw from them if you need something to assist a vessel that is registered in Aiko, and of course you can call on your neighbors for help also.
And we also have a representative from Canada here. Tell us about the lessons learned from this experience from Canadian Coast Guard.
Well, I think in Canada it's the same as a lot of the countries. Remoteness is a real challenge, but I think that also opens up areas of collaboration, as we're doing here, and that opens up exploration for new innovations and working with each other to identify the challenges and discover new solutions and new technologies and ways to work together.
And Phil, you're from the UK. People doesn't necessarily associate the UK with the Arctic, so help me out a little bit on that one.
Yes, we're not an Arctic state, but we are quite close to the Arctic on our northern perimeter. And obviously we have search and rescue agreements with our neighbours and the other RCCs, so that if there is a problem, we obviously will assist as well. But from a JRCC perspective or Rescue Coordination Centre perspective, I think it's quite important to have a much better understanding of the industry and what the industry can provide. Because if you sit in the operations room, every ship is just a little triangle and you don't really know what the capacities are and what they can bring to the table. But these opportunities like this project, you can actually see what a ship like the Polar Quest can provide if they're in the area to assist another vessel. So it's really important to have this cooperation and collaboration with the industry and the other partners.
I'd like you to think of one single word that is describing your need, and you can't repeat what your colleague is saying. When we meet back here in 5 years and your dream has come through, what is your dream, either technology, asset? Well, wish it through and see that it's actually something that is able to do. I'll start in a corner. Yes, I am. I'm starting from my left, and one single word. So this is your chance to also involve industry for what you want.
Strategy, forward thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well noted.
And thank you for using more than one word. Innovation, innovation and support from our superiors so that we can keep meeting like this.
Utilization of all resources.
Two words: familiarity and respect for each other. Being able to work together through those two.
That's a continuation, keeping project like this running, not just as a one-off, but as a continuous process.
Easier communication.
I think it's cooperation among the stakeholders in Arctic.
Yeah, as we learned, we will have better satellite images and satellite coverage in 5 years, so that will help a lot also.
Shared situational awareness in the area.
Exactly. And with those words, I'll just thank you for joining us for this session here from New London, not too far. And if people in the background are looking closely in the background, they will see also the beautiful scenery of Ny Alesund. So thank you.